Everybody needs an outlet, and one of my biggest ones is video games. When people hear about females playing video games, it comes as a shock. In today's society, it has become more accepted, but it hasn't always been this way. It is a known fact that many creators and designers target a male audience. And nowadays, 50% of the gaming community are females. So it is growing and it's more normal for females to be a part of this community, and we need to normalize it. Let me give you a history of video games. One of the first video games was in 1958. It was called Tennis for Two. There were no genders, no characters, or anything that associated with anything like that. And all you could see on the screen was a tennis court and then the ball in play going back and forth. It didn't matter who was playing, and it wasn't anything about I'm superior to who. One of the very first females that designers and game programmer was Carol Shaw. In an article written by D.S. Cohen, she released her first game in 1978. Women at this time had to fight for their voice to be heard when it came to video games and anything associated like that because the males didn't want to hear it. Video games have always been a part of my life since when I was little. My dad would always hang out with me on Sunday afternoons, and we would call it bro time. And that's when we would sit down and just play video games after we got all of our chores done. He had his Atari and his PlayStation from when he was 6 years old that he has also passed down to me, and to this day, we still play games together. Right now, we are involved in Smite. But going back on that, I haven't really had that much trouble with video games myself. However, you do always get the typical question of, are you a 12-year-old boy or are you a girl? And once they find out you're a girl, then they try and flirt with you. And I'm sure that happens to many people. And nowadays, it's a little more common for males to hear of girls playing games, so it's not that bad. It hasn't always been like this. Now that you have a decent idea and a background, let me get into the gender inequality and why they target a male audience. The male character and the roles that they play have a big deal when it comes to games. According to Radford.edu, video games often target a male audience, and for that fact, they make the male character that you can choose from the lead. They make him more masculine and more skillful than anybody else. That way you can feel part of that. They appear in games more than women, and women don't really often get the chance back in the day to be a woman in the game. When females do appear, they're not always the lead character, and even though they make it seem like you're the lead, they still have a male right alongside with you, so it makes it seem like the female is incompetent and can't complete the task on her own. Males compared to females in skill-wise and dress attire even. Males will be more covered and the females will just focus on their body, and so they'll be less clothed. Female characters are being sexualized and objectified, and not only do we have to put up with that in regular daily life, but now we have to put up with it in video games too. It doesn't really seem right. While males are represented as muscular and brave, a lot of the times females in video games are more independent and targeted to be sexy. And when I say that, that means the male have armor and clothes all over their bodies, whereas the females have parts only covering their chest and their female parts. When females were, in a lot of games, when females were being created and designed, they would just start with the legs and the butt. And that was all they would form, and 84%. Didn't matter anything else, that was the start. Males, it was 55%, and most of the time, they already had their armor on. One common thing that we have all heard of is Grand Theft Auto. In an article written by Kate Harveston, the goal is to kill as many women as you can in one game. And another part is you have to grope all these strippers' breasts before the bouncer discovers what you're up to. GTA is an insane game, and I will say I have had my fun time with it, but that is just another example of how women are just toys in these games. And so when you're a woman and you are playing that role against other women, it's offending. And I have played it, so I mean, that talks about me too, but we have improved. Not to say that all games are bad or they all are against women. Video games have improved since women are 50% involved just as much as males. It's not to say we are no longer objectified in games, but it's getting better. The female character progressions throughout the years, we'll start with Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, who we've all heard of. Now in 1966, when she first came out, this was her outfit. And as you can tell, she has the long legs, short shorts, big breasts, and skinny torso. This game, even with a female lead, targeted men. That way men could enjoy playing as her and could enjoy what they see. The progression throughout the years has been insane, and women have a voice in video games now, and this is more like her attire. She has the pants covering and a tank top, and her body's more proportioned for the women. There are now also many more female protagonists that you can choose from. A lot of games offer female characters that you can play too. So now it's not just subject to males, it can be whoever you want. Companies are also trying their best to improve the quality of games for females. According to Games Design, Intel has invested $300 million towards female diversity in game division, and they've also doubled the number of women working. Male protagonists in 2019 were 20% and female were 5%. Now in 2020, just 1 year later, males are 23% and females are 18%. So that is a huge jump. Females are now 50% of the gaming community, and we do have a voice. It's not just for males, and although it's not 100% yet, it has gotten so much better.